welcome to WROL Broadcast. I am Hate Mail. With me today we have Ogre, and we also have special guest Nova, who's been playing this game for a little while. Have you been playing? Were you in the beta, Nova?
Yes, I started on the second season, and I've been playing like 4 weeks earlier than the formal launch.
Okay, cool. So you definitely have some experience. If you don't mind, just give us a little bit of background, where you're from, and what got you in. Are you a Magic player, and kind of all that?
Oh, cool. Yeah, I live in Canada, and um, like the first time I reached the content of Magic, it was like 10 years ago, and it's a very cool world. And now suddenly this game came up, and I just very into it. And in this game now, I reached I think the highest rank, which is rank 9, and it's like top 200
Wow.
on the left. Yeah.
I didn't even realize there was a rank 9, so that's how out of tune. I've been playing a little bit more since the last episode. Finally hit rank 4, so I've been really enjoying it. I was going for a high rank in another game we play, and it'd been consuming a lot of time, but it seems out of reach now to take number 1, so I'm going to devote more time to this game. But the
Cool.
reason we asked you to come on, Nova, was we saw you had a post kind of talking about the current meta and some of the strategies around that. So if you wouldn't mind just kind of describing what you're seeing in the current meta and kind of talk through a little bit of your Reddit post on what your strategies are.
hmm Yeah, I kind of witnessed the derive of the meta in high rank. Last season, they are kind of very diversified, but due to some later updates, like the distance between towers and all the stuff, seems in the high rank now it's just chip down meta, and people just defense and use the 3 mana cards to chip down opponent's tower, and that's very prominent, a kind of prevail strategy now. But in lower ranks, I think snowballing push with a huge wave is also something viable.
Now, Ogre, where are you seeing that same strategy? Where in the rank you're playing now, or is it still the snowball strategy?
Oh no, absolutely. You see the chip down strategy starting probably around rank 5, I want to say.
What rank are you, Ogre?
I'm 6. I'm about to be 7. I'm like 40 points away from 7 right now.
Okay, so you're moving along too. Now, what is Nova? What would you say your strategy to counter the chip down strategy, and what are you doing to specifically when you're playing these different matches? I see a lot of different. Everybody seems to be facing the Soren teams. That seems to be. I keep seeing complaints about that. Is that something that you're seeing with your
Exactly.
rank? Okay.
Yes, because if you refer to the polls, we have those 3 mana chip down toolkits, but within them the binding mage, which he can not only attack buildings but also can help you to realize multiple goals, like just clear the a battlefield, and uh, the DPS is so high you couldn't ignore it. So
I think I have him as like the most overpowered or second most overpowered card in the game currently.
true, very true. And at the same time, which planeswalker protect him most normally will win the match. So you can see Soren is the obvious one, because his summon effect could let the mage kind of survive from 3 mana against spells like the shock or Wretched Bound. Yeah, I think that's the main reason for Soren decks. It's very popular and very high win rate.
Now, how I've been playing at my lower level ranks, and this will kind of school me and probably anybody else who's coming into the game that aren't in the higher ranks, is generally I just drop a larger creature, then drop a bunch of little guys behind them, and then kind of react based on that. Based on what you're you're saying in this post and what I'm seeing some other people, recommend whenever they play is, to kind of be the person you spend the least amount of mana, let them spend more mana to defend against that, and then you let your mana build up, and then summon troops to kind of counter that, to always be the person using the least amount of mana to counter whatever they're doing until you can make a push. Is that what you would recommend people to do, or how would you recommend just the average player to kind of step up their
Yeah,
game?
yeah. At the starting stage, like in the lower ranks, you definitely could do that because I see. I personally have a Smurf and I try that and it's because you started at 8 mana, right? And
Hmm.
you see lots of people that they just starting to drop units on the very front line. And that's a very kind of dedicated to offense. And you can easily like use a 3 mana drop to stop their offense and then combine with other units, have a huge wave to overwhelm them. So I would say drop the high mana like tank at the very back line is still viable at starting phase. And don't forget to use your planeswalkers because sometimes I see people just the whole fight and nobody use planeswalkers, just units.
Yeah.
They're
Now,
used to other games like this where you don't have access to a planeswalker, so.
True, yes, yes. And I think Clash Royale players definitely gonna have some sense of how this type of game how to win, right?
which Ogre used to play. I've never played Clash Royale. Just never tried it. So,
Hmm.
what's your favorite deck that you currently use? I see on the post you had Tezzeret. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Exactly. Yes,
Yeah, that was Tezzeret.
I'm using him for a while. Since at the beginning of the season, I tried different various decks, but just up and down, rendering around rank 7 and 8. But this one, I think I come up with a solution to all the like the spiritual processions, the souls, and all the ninjas. Those 3 mana units who want to chip down your tower. It's a better way to counter, and also we have tools to do the same thing to the opponent.
Now, can you describe a little bit about what the Ninja of the Deep Hours deck is and how all that works?
Oh, yes, for sure. Ninja, he is the very highest DPS unit in the game. And he has a shroud, if I
Yes, Shroud.
yeah, so he won't expose to any target until he start to attack. So you basically hard to react to him. And when he show up, it's just few seconds and you see the tower have gone half of the life, half of the health. It's just crazy. But people could use, say, Chandra, the summon effect, and also the ability to kill him for free. It's very low health bar there. But what we want to do is use him to attack together with Tethera, and because you can drop him on the face of the tower, and you may create just 2 or 3 seconds for him, that's enough.
Wow.
Yep.
And also, I realized the 1 mana Scott, we summon 3 little
Patron
artifacts.
Scout.
Yeah.
Oh, that thing has even higher DPS, but it's the health is very low, and you can easily be evaporated by
Yeah.
any AOE effects. But the single hit is like 240, I think. But there are 3 of them, and the attack speed is not too low. So if you can create room for them, that's also very good.
What would, getting slightly off this topic,
Sure.
and Ogre, feel free to chime in as well. What
Hmm.
if you're a new player like myself and you're focusing on just a couple different um, cards and heroes, is there any particular just out of the gate ones that you would say, and if you just want to kind of go through just a variety of the colors, because since there's only 5, just 1 or 2 cards you would recommend focusing on and building up?
If you're only going to play one color, red. Chandra. Done. She is, like, she's so versatile. It may not seem like it. It may seem like she's a very linear strategy, but she's very versatile because of her own effects. But on top of that, the red card effects in general are just versatile because of the direct damage potential that they have, which allows you to do to react to the opposite lane pushes that you get from Blinding Mage, Ninja the Deep Hours, or Goblin Artillery, or whatever. Like, it allows you to react to those a lot easier.
And would you agree with that, Nova?
Yes, yes. Chandra is very. You can see. I think in the top 100 players, you can see.
We're getting a lot of children.
You can see 50 of Chandras there. It's very good, and it's easier to build, right? It's just red, and you can achieve the cards from team and the personal rewards.
And now, is there particular cards that this might be kind of putting you on the spot, and we want to have a full episode about this at some point, but just any particular couple of cards that you could think of off the top of your head that you would say that are early and easy to obtain that you would say ask for in the team and kind of target?
Haunted Guardian.
Exactly. Yeah. Agreed. He's kind of the very base fundamental of the deck.
And what? That's a black card, correct?
It's the artifact guy.
No, the common.
Oh, the common. Okay.
Colorless.
Yeah,
the 3-mana footman.
Yeah, the knight looking one.
Oh yeah, I have him in my deck.
Right.
So.
Yeah, pretty much everybody has him in their deck. So.
I agree.
Any other
It's
ones?
just too
Really
good
good.
for 3-mana.
Him, Hedron Scouts, and the Scarabs are not Scarabs. What are the Clockwork Beetles? And Ratchet Bomb. Those are like your core, and the reason that the game gives you the artifacts in the first place is to kind of shore up, different things that your deck may need.
Right.
So you can't really go wrong by requesting artifacts, I think.
True. Yeah. Especially the starting phase. If you can have level 2 or 3, that's good enough. And maybe after you get a sense of which color you want to dedicate it to, maybe 2 colors because you get free half-blood,
Dual.
those guilds, yeah, you can have that double-colored planeswalkers to use, so you can have a better sense for asking cards and donate cards, right?
Gotcha. Now, I noticed in the shop, and this is kind of just a sidetrack question, but I noticed in the shop there was a new planeswalker that you could purchase with gems only, it looked like. Trying to remember what it's
Alex.
It's the white-green one, right?
Yeah,
Alex.
I actually broke and bought them because I just didn't know how rare these characters are, or if they become available in different spots. Is that the case? Is that a character that's been around for a while? Or is that a new one?
No, it's a totally new one. I think it launched with the new season, with the one award rewarded by the seasonal pass.
Okay, yeah, it's called Calyx.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Him and Obnixilis are only been available for this season, from what I could understand.
Do you know anything about him, or is he somebody people should pick up, or you don't really know yet?
Green is generally viewed as the weakest color.
Yeah, I've heard that.
For this season, yeah, I have to agree.
Although the white is generally viewed as the strongest color, so there may be some play for him.
Yeah.
So he also has the ability that when he enters, he exiles a unit that has the highest HP, which,
Yes.
depending on, you might need that. So he has a good effect, and he has arguably the strongest color, but he also has arguably the weakest color. So it really depends on how you build it. I think he could definitely at some point see play.
Well, not to mention, you don't know if green will eventually get buffed because it's been, they always do these nerfs and buffs type of things. So
Right.
Very true. Yeah, I saw a top tier. I mean, on the leaderboard, a player is brewing those white-green deck and using the giant growth combined maybe with the entangler or blinding mage. I think imagine it, the blinding mage is like 240 health. The giant growth can give him like 800 or something. It's a 1000 HP mobile guardian on the road. It's hard to kill.
gotcha. Well, that he definitely seemed interesting. So I just thought, well, why not? He wasn't that expensive, so. And I hadn't really spent a little bit of money on this game yet, so I figured, why not start? So, anything else you guys can think of that we might want to talk about while we have Nova on, Ogre?
Since we're focused more on the newer player side, at 600 and 700 trophies, you get a 2-color Planeswalker.
Mhm.
What do you suggest? What are your suggestions as to the ones that are easy to understand and will help new players advance?
I would say Soren and Tezzeret.
You can't pick Soren from those 2 picks, though, unfortunately.
Oh, I can't? Oh my god.
No, you have to. You have to pay 30,000 gold to get Soren.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
My pick was Dory. Is that the name?
Domri?
Dormery, yes.
Yeah.
Dormery and Tezzeret. Last
And-
season, Dormery was something. I used him, reached 3,000 rank point.
Mhm.
But this season, it's nerfed like from 4 mana worse to 2 mana.
Now, when you're saying that, you're referring to your post where you value a Planeswalker between 4 and 5 mana.
I think so. I think that's what I saw the value of Planeswalkers in the game.
Yeah.
And especially Tezzeret has very high HP. I think it's 2200 at level 1 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's decent amount, and you can have more time to react, to decide when to use the ability and drop the little artifacts anywhere you want.
Mhm.
It's cool.
Now,
Yeah.
do you have do you play the event at all, or do you just kind of skip that? Is it worth playing?
I like the event so much, especially the one I think they call draft.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can have that next week. So we'll do that. You for every match you choose a card and you give opponent the other. So you have two options. You can have maybe a better card, give them a better card, but also you could choose to have a weaker one, but give them the worst one. So yeah, that was fun. And once I think in the game I have 3 or 4, those 7, 8 mana monsters.
Nice.
Because opponent gave me those ones that I couldn't use at once. So that's a strategy, and especially you have to do that process every match. It's like 3 losses and 9 wins for now. So you have multiple chance to practice that. I loved it so much. But for the sealed event like this week, they removed the restriction of color. I'm not a big fan of that, actually, because it doesn't like a sealed from a magic aspect, right? It's like you just pick the strongest planeswalkers you got, and you just pick the very best cards. Not like, I have to build a deck. How do I choose between white and green, or I can have a two-color one. So I think that would be a better experience.
Now, let me ask you another question. For somebody who decides they want to purchase something in the shop, what would you recommend purchasing? What would you consider good value in there?
You mean the card shop or the real?
The actual
per-
shop in the game where you're going to spend real
Oh,
money.
the actual. Um, I have to confess, I'm a total free-to-play player. So
Okay.
now I haven't spent a little, but I definitely would suggest to pay for the battle pass.
Okay.
And also, I think they have some beginner $1-ish packs. Yeah, that's definitely helpful.
Yeah, but
And
normally I'm bad about being a whale in games, but I'm trying to curb that because it's an insane amount of money for not what,
yeah,
and it seems like you can have more fun not going down that road. So I'm trying not to do that this time. So I've only purchased the dollar ones, but it seemed like they're really good value for
they
only a
are.
couple
They
bucks.
are. Yeah, and you can see this at 200% discount or something, and I think that's real. It's not just just I want you to buy it. It's really that amount of value there, and because of I love this game, I think I will purchase some in the future, just because I want the company to have some profits to maintain the develop and
That's how it starts. No.
update. I kind of worry about their
Yeah.
profitability because you know LOL just launched their new card games, right? And this market is very competitive now,
Yeah, it
and
really is.
I don't see any marketing event from this Netmarble
Well,
game.
Magic the Gathering has such a big brand that they may not need
Yes,
to do a lot.
yes. And also one more thing I want to talk about is the target of this game. Yeah, because you see on the Magic, the community, somebody just, they just laugh at this game and said, how could whether the coach just cheating for money, and you don't care about real Magic experience. But I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see
I
that at all. I mean, I was never a hardcore Magic player. When I was in my many years ago, when I was in my teens, I played a ton of Magic and loved it, and just kind of stepped away from it as I got older. But this game, it feels. I mean, it's not Magic because you're not playing cards, but it's still.
Mhm.
I mean, I guess you kind of technically are, but it has. I mean, it feels like Magic. They did a really good job of getting the theme.
Exactly. And I also really appreciate their animations and the delicate models. Do you know you can rotate those planeswalkers when you're on the screen, when you have them?
No, I
It,
did not
it
realize that.
it's not a pure,
Huh.
a
It's
little
not a
GX
2D model.
animation. It's a real 3D model there.
Wow, I didn't realize that I'm doing it right now. Never realized you could do that. That's cool.
It's
Yeah,
pretty awesome.
that's so cool.
And
And
yeah, I think
last,
I have to agree with you guys. Like they really hit the nail on the head with the animations and like the feel. Like it honestly feels like you're a planeswalker going into a duel against another planeswalker and fighting it out. Like, which is what Magic is supposed to be. Like this is
yes,
it feels like it. Like it's great.
yes, it's like when I was child, I always imagine it's like in Yuki, right? You summon a monster and they bite each other, or they just fight. You can saw it and visualize. But now it's kind of something, and although I know Arena did a really good job with those rare animation, right? But this one, I think it's a different experience. I love it.
Yeah, that's very cool. Well, I unless you guys have something else up, we think we'll go ahead and wrap this up. We do really appreciate you being on Nova, and
Oh, thank you for having me.
your in-game name is Nova as well. So if people come across you,
Yeah, hopefully they won't spamming emojis. That's
Yeah.
one thing I hate most.
I haven't seen a lot of that. I know in Hearthstone,
No,
which I play,
no,
people are
Like it's
really bad about
not.
it.
It's definitely
not
not
many.
Clash Royale because people spam in Clash. There's actually a thing called bad manners in Clash. It's weird.
Yeah, BMs everywhere.
But I think one of the things that actually helps in the ManaStrike is that I think there's a cooldown on
Oh, is
how
it?
The
I
matches are
think
so
there.
quick, I don't know how you have time to. I barely have time to say hello with an emoji.
Exactly.
So,
I mean that's fair.
yeah, so
Hmm.
I think it's a little harder. In Hearthstone, you're waiting on the other person to play a card, and they have so long, so people are just spamming them. But
Cool.
in this, you got to move.
Hmm. So how about, say, Ogre, do you have something very cool, maybe something we don't know, like some from the game you want to share?
Like I've been using Chandra the last few days. I decided to focus on my red cards
Hmm.
and build up my Chandra, and then I made it to the point where I got the free skin with the Magic Pass, and I took the Chibi Chandra because that's cool. I like her animation because she skips along. It's hilarious.
Yes. She even have that regulator or something, right? It's a
Yeah, she has the
new
regulator
card
on her
in,
belt.
in the last, I think, 2020 or something. That's lovely.
Yeah, that other outfit's pretty cool.
Hmm. Okay. One last thing I want to share is I just realized for Tezrak, he have the ability to summon one mana cost artifact. Dude, it costs one mana.
Yeah, it costs
Wow.
one mana to
And
summon
also,
his basically familiar.
yes, that
It's
thing
really cool though.
is a air unit.
Well, it's an AOE ground effect.
Uh-huh. But the thing is on it's a flyer.
Is it?
That's something surprised me.
Hmm.
I realized it because they have that 6 mana huge flying
Oh, the demon and the Aethyswall Ancient?
yes, the ancient.
Yeah.
That thing when they fly over the artifact, it becomes transparent as well. I just realized, oh, that's why my Haunted Guardian just walked through without noticing it. It's a flyer. That's something I think it's very cool.
Yeah, that I've faced some giant black creature that always seems to give me trouble whenever I'm facing them. I always have the hardest time against black decks so far. Those are the only ones.
In the early game,
Yeah.
Liliana plus like any of the larger units like the Hadron Scouts and you know the Clockwork Beetles and stuff like that. Anything like that, and you'll see Liliana's ability pop up, and then you'll see the
Mhm.
Reaver Demon. Reaver Demon gets summoned right on top of that, so it kills all of them, but then they all revive because of Liliana's ability, and then the Reaver Demon pops up with like a +8, and then it's really hard to beat. That's the entire point. When you get actually, better at the game, like, I have no problem destroying that. Like,
Yeah,
it's just timing. Like you get better at seeing, oh, okay, this is what they're doing, and then you play around it.
well,
So
what I've been doing to cheese, and I'm sure I can't get away with this later, is just dropping Spectral Procession over and over on top of their end tower, and then they eventually
that
die
is
to it.
actually so. To expand a little bit on what we were saying earlier about the play style for the game right now is that you were talking about getting ahead in mana. But what do you do with that when you're ahead on the mana finally? You drop either Spectral Procession, Blinding Mage, Ninja of the Deep Hours, Goblin Artillery, or a Geralt's Messenger in the opposite
Mhm.
lane. You
Yeah.
Mhm.
drop it in the opposite lane. So those are the cards that are going to get you the win because you're working down both towers. And I don't know how many games I've won at this point where it's 2-1. Like I've lost count on how many games that it's 2-1 because that's how the game just plays right now.
Yeah.
That's how the
Yeah,
meta is.
yeah, and you win because of not the lane you fight on. It's because of the other one. You keep sending those to chip down, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's.
And
Mhm.
that's
If you
what
can get ahead on mana more, you win. And that's generally true in Magic in general, so it makes sense.
Actually, we should probably explain to the viewers, for those that are unaware, what chip down even means.
Oh, I don't know.
So,
There is a team. Yeah, you go first. I'm not.
okay. Chip down would be like if I place my Chandra and have her Firebird clip their tower as she enters.
Yep.
And it clips their tower and it does a little bit of damage. If I throw a Ratchet Bomb to kill off opponent's creatures and I chip their tower as well. Like, they do damage to the tower just repeatedly, but you don't notice how, because it's a little bit amount of damage, but it does add up. So.
Like 200 per time, but we have the total house is 5,000.
Yeah, but if you're doing it throughout the whole match, you're going to be ahead several thousand by the end of it. So, and that's what it's referring to, really, is chip down.
Okay, yeah, we didn't mention that earlier, so anybody who wasn't familiar with the term, I thought we might.
Yeah, sorry about that.
All right, guys. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap it there, and once again, we appreciate you coming on, Nova, and if anybody has any additional questions, we will see that in the post on the Reddit board when we link this. As well, we will have, we're planning to, I know a few of you mentioned to me in the comments, we're going to do a separate feed for Magic ManaStrike so we don't bombard our other listeners. The YouTube we're not going to split off because it just doesn't make sense to do it that way. But on the audio only channel, we're experimenting with some other feeds so that we don't have to pay for two of them. But it looks like we might be able to do that. So hopefully by the time you're listening to this, it will have its own feed. So if you listen to it on our DC Legends WROL Broadcast stream, we will have a separate one, and you'll see that in the show notes. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. If not, we will continue to post it to the other feed in the meantime, but we are actively working on that. All right, guys. Well, appreciate you coming on, and everyone, take care.
Awesome. Thank you.